KUTX 98.9, the Austin Music Experience. This is KUTX at home, my home and someone else's home. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited about my guest this afternoon because, as you probably already know, he is the KUTX May Artist of the Month. Woo! Doing the victory dance.
There's only 12 of us. I'll take May. Come on.
Of course, you know him, you love him. I do too. It's Jonathan Terrell. How are you, Terrell Barrel? And I do mean that question when I ask you, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Spirits are high. I've been writing a bunch, reading a bunch, doing a bunch of yoga and working out, trying to get fit.
I think you are doing a lot more than I am.
I'm trying. Well, I mean. Well, I don't know all what you're doing, so I mean that could be,
That's true.
You're a mysterious lady, Laurie. You gotta keep a little mystery about yourself. So
here I am being mysterious. Ooh.
Y'all at home, we're here with Miss Laurie Gallardo from KUTX.
Oh, hello everyone on Instagram as well. Hello. Like I said, now 2 channels for me to publicly humiliate myself on. Thank you. JT, I'm first of all. I think you kind of already answered my question earlier, but I wanted to share this with our listeners. How have you been spending your quarantine time, and where are you living at right now?
Well, I live on the east side. It's kind of southeast. I've been spending a lot of time at my lady's place.
Right on.
And, I come over here to my house, kind of give my roommates some space, so I'll come over here to do live streams and do some writing and stuff like that. But mostly just been hanging out, learning a bunch of new recipes online and cooking my ass off,
Now that I can say I've been doing the same thing. And that's kind of like, I knew I could do it, but I'm still kind of marveling at that, I'm like, I actually made this meal. Ooh.
I know. It's like just as seen on the internet. It's like,
right.
I'm like, I'll never show up to another party without a quiche. Like, man. Shoe in.
It's true. I've been making all kinds of things as well. And speaking of making and creating, been listening to some new music, of course, and I'm pretty stoked about this. And I'm glad you kind of gave me a heads up about this. I'm of course talking about 2 songs in particular from a new EP. Is that right?
Yes.
And
the new EP, 2-song EP, because the record, I'm still waiting on the record to, everything's kind of on pause for the whole industry. So, in the meantime, I've got this whole record that's ready to go, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. But in the meantime, until I can do anything about it, I'm going to put this little EP out, because I think it's just time. It needs to be heard,
Yeah, it certainly felt like it. I was re-listening to the 2 tracks last night. And that's Love Can Find You Anywhere, as well as Everywhere I Go. The last of which, I mean, that was, I love it because these are beautiful tracks, but this is very emotional listening. I mean, for me in particular. And you told me that there are definitely some stories behind these 2 songs. Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah. So the one that you're, I guess, just referring to, Everywhere I Go, I wrote that on a plane going from Paris to Berlin while I was on tour. But the thing was in Paris when I was there, it was my first time there, and I was playing this club, and they got me a little Airbnb right around the corner. And so I'm all excited. I get a little lost on the train, and I go to my flat. It's on the fifth floor of this old building. It's like I'm looking out, the Parisian rooftops and everything. And, my host left me some charcuterie and a bottle of wine. And I'm just like, man, I'm in Paris. This is amazing. My first time I'm there. And so I start eating this charcuterie, and I'm chewing and I'm chewing and I'm chewing and I'm chewing. And then it just it gets stuck. And so I'm alone on the 5th floor, kind of in the ghetto, between where Little Ethiopia and the gay Jewish district
Yes.
meet,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right by the canal. And so all the doors are ironed, so nobody's going to answer their door. So I start doing the Heimlich on myself, and it's not. I can feel it like sticking right there, and it's like moving around, and then that's not working. So I grab this chair, and I'm doing the Heimlich on this chair, right, heaving on there, and that's not working. And so I was in Spain like the week before, and I'd forgot my fingernail clippers. I forgot to bring them with me, you know, and I'd been like, man, I just got to clip my nails for this gig. And the last second, no joke, I could see like the dark circle kind of closing in, you know, and I heard plain as day my own voice in the room say, fix this now. Like, it was just like another me was standing right next to me. So I reached my hand down my throat with my long ass fingernails, ripped this charcuterie out of my throat, and it was like the last second. And then I just went downstairs and I got so drunk. So drunk. And but it was like, you know, it was like literally I could see the like dark like closing in around me, and it was, I mean, I had no other option. And I remember the next day I had that gig, and I remember the owner bought me a tequila shot, and I remember it burning the inside of my mouth where it tore when I reached down there. So a couple days later I fly to Berlin for some shows, and then I wrote that song on a napkin on the way there. And it was one of those songs I just wrote in like 5 minutes, and it was out. And I already knew that without having a guitar or anything, I already knew the melody and the chords and everything. I already knew what it was going to be. So when I recorded that, I was at Greg Raleigh's house, who plays B3, plays Santana and Journey and stuff. We were doing some recording at his place. And when I cut that track, I was playing outside on this porch of their, like this little cabin they have out there. When I hit the last chord, it just started pouring rain. And it was the last song on the record that we were recording, and it was just like, as soon as I hit the last note, like there's a point somewhere halfway in the song where you can hear the crickets, and then the crickets stop because the crickets are like, oh shit, it's about it.
Yeah, it's gonna rain. Yeah.
And then I hit the last chord, and it just starts pouring rain. So you do hear that on the track.
You hear that on the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very moving because it feels like a long pause, but it isn't. I mean, you hear the atmosphere, you hear the environment, and then it just begins to pour like crazy.
And I was sitting there, the irony of it, I was just sitting there holding my breath too, so I wouldn't like in the microphone, you know. And I'm just like, okay, I wrote this song, you know, that we're almost like choked to death, and then now I'm sitting there holding my breath on purpose, you know. It's it's pretty rounding experience, you know.
Wow. To say the least. First of all, I'm glad you're still here with us.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm ready to go out like that, you know.
Oh, it's such a scary experience, but again, I think it all adds up to that very first experience that you had in Paris. I mean, just being there, being the location where you were at, and then, by golly, I almost died. Hey.
You know, but hey, I got a song out of the gig, you know.
Spoken like a true artist, my friend.
Right. Yeah, trying, you know.
I hear you. Now, let us talk about Love Can Find You Anywhere, because if ever there was something a lot of people needed to hear, this one is definitely it. And it's absolutely gorgeous. If these two tracks are any indication of what the album has in store for us, I want to say congratulations right now, because this is exciting.
Thank you. All right. So this track, this track kind of like deals with, it was the night of the 2016 election. You know, I was on the phone with my little sister pretty late in the evening, and I think definitely both of us had a lot of questions about what was going to come next, you know.
Sure.
And so I wanted to write something, and at first I was like, well, you know, I was focusing on the negatives, and I was going to write a protest song, and I was like, okay, I don't think me protesting about any of this is going to get anybody anywhere, you know. And I just had to pause and look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, that's not how I want to approach this at all. And so the first verse of this song is two people that fall in love in the light of a burning car on opposite sides of a protest rally. I was like, let's start there and tell a story instead of, you know, like, nobody cares about my opinion, you know. They want to hear, you know, a song is the story, and you know, the song's nothing without it. So it's like I kind of wanted to, you know, I just wanted to tell a story that was kind of like a, you know, maybe a couple different positions of what people were feeling. And so my sister lives in Fort Worth. She actually came down and sang harmonies on the song with me. So that's my sister. We've never sang together before, but we sang in church
That's
growing up
awesome.
all the time, you know. And she's, you know, way better singer than me, you know. So so she came down and sang harmonies, and we had a great time. And my friend Josh Owens playing dobro on that track. Scott Davis plays bass. Doug Day, my regular guys, on drum.
Doug Day, shout out.
Okay. And Stuart Sykes produced the record, and yeah, it's, you know, and so this song, I was actually kind of like hoping to hold on to it a little closer to the election, because I knew like there's a visible divide. And you know, if there's anything I can do or say to kind of like blur that line a little bit for some people, of just going like, hey, you know, I don't want to get caught up in the, you know, he said, she said, like, let's, you know, look at the people around you and focus on that, you know, and like focus on what you can do as a person in your community, as a person in your family, and worry about that, you know. Because a lot of the stuff is just completely out of your hands, but you will rip your hair out trying to control it, and it's just not healthy. So right. I wrote that song, "Love Can Find You Anywhere," to state just that, you know.
All right. And I think, if you're ready, I think that's the song that you're going to do for us this afternoon.
And Jorge came by the house while I was quarantining, and filmed me in my front yard playing this song. So I'm going to post this song this afternoon, and he did a beautiful job, really great, black and white. And,
yes, he did. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's got a home on our website on the front page at KUTX.org. Well done, Jorge. It's wonderful. It's beautiful too.
Thank you. Well, this is "Love Can Find You Anywhere," and this song and the other will be out May 18th, and you can stream it anywhere. Sexy music is happening. Well, right in the street, catching that on fire. Each side out the corner, the other side alive. Well, some are flying red flags, some are flying blue. There's blood on the ground, voices calling for truth. All that passion in the air, under an evil disguise. In the car firelight, he saw the look in her eyes. Oh, love can find you anywhere. Oh, love can find you anywhere. They press through double doors and they wheel him inside. He was pulled from the wreckage, he was barely alive. The doctor, she was young, but all her hands were steady. Although he was fading fast, boy, she knew he wasn't ready. And the whole room grew brighter when for a moment they stared. He reached to take her hand, she brushed back his hair. Oh, love can find you anywhere. Your love find you anywhere. It finds you when you least expect it, always in your moment of despair. Love can find you anywhere. Well, the whole beach applauds and the sun sinks behind the waves. You brush another's hand for a crowded train. Every moment you feel lost, feel alone, you don't care. Oh, love is gonna find you. Yeah, love can find you anywhere. Oh, love can find you anywhere. It finds you when you least expect it, always in your moment of despair. Love can find you anywhere. All right.
I love it, brother. I love it.
Thank you very much. And I'm so excited when they told me it was going to be our interview. I was like, yes, love it.
Yeah, you know, and I'm always saying this, full disclosure, JT and I have known each other for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And the other day I was making some friends of mine laugh because I even remember how we met and how the first time I said your name on the radio was wrong.
That's cool, you know?
I said Terrell because I was being famous. And yeah.
Well, it sounds fancy, you know? And it's still, you know, a lot of people still say Terrell, but you know, I think I'm gonna get like a jacket painted with like a wildcat on the back that says Feral Terrell. That way, so they just, you know, if you read those two together, you know, just do the work, just do the homework for them. You know, be like, look, I'm gonna give you a leg up. Maybe you don't know. That's cool. Let me
That's
help
all
you.
right.
But nobody's gonna read that and go, the Feral Terrell. They'd be like, well, that don't pop. No. It don't pop like you want it.
Don't pop like you want it to. I've been calling you Terrell Barrel ever since. I mean, I'm like, yep, I got it.
Good.
My guest this afternoon has been Jonathan Terrell. He is our May Artist of the Month at KUTX 98.9. There is a new album on the way, but the EP is coming out on May the 18th, and you heard one of the songs on the EP, Love Can Find You Anywhere. JT, I'm so glad we had the chance to chat this afternoon. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for the opportunity. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Thank you to KUTX for all the support and playing my songs and, you know, making me feel so bona fide as an Austin resident.
Hell yeah, buddy. You are an Austin musician. You shine like the star you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I got this oil, this everyday oil, you know.
And that's why I shine. Well, I've been your host this afternoon. My name is Laurie Gallardo, KUTX 98.9, the Austin Music Experience. Thank you for experiencing KUTX at home.